Do the writers at General Hospital honestly expect us to sit back and watch in silence while Britt Westbourne is painted as a delusional kidnapper? Did the Port Charles Police Department and the WSB genuinely think they could just lock Britt behind bars, throw away the key, and pin the entire Spoon Island catastrophe on her shoulders without anyone noticing the glaring truth? Are we supposed to believe that after everything she has endured, from the fake Huntington's disease nightmare to the absolute terror of being hunted by Ross Cullum, she is going to be the sacrificial lamb for the agency's colossal failures? I am looking at the screen, completely baffled by the sheer audacity of these prosecutors. How can anyone in that courtroom look at a woman who risked her own life to protect a vulnerable teenage boy and brand her a criminal? If they think the loyal viewers are going to swallow this narrative without questioning the absolute lack of logic and morality in this prosecution, they are vastly underestimating our intelligence. The WSB wants a scapegoat, but did they honestly think they could take down Britt Westbourne without a fight? If you ask me, ladies, we have seen this exact type of institutional railroading before. I have been watching this beautiful, maddening show since the golden era of soap operas in the 1980s, and this current legal nightmare reminds me so vividly of the classic storylines where legacy characters were pushed to the absolute brink by corrupt agencies. Remember the days when the WSB would ruthlessly target our favorites, twisting the truth to cover their own international blunders? We saw it with Anna Devane, we saw it with the great super couples of the past, and now we are seeing it with Britt. The character integrity of these strong, complicated women is always tested by men in suits who want to sweep their own messes under the rug. It is a hallmark of long-term storytelling that the heroines must walk through the fire of false accusations before they can find their peace. And right now, Britt is standing in the center of a blazing inferno, facing a mountain of charges regarding the Cold Fusion Project and the supposed abduction of Rocco Falconeri. But just like in the classic eras, a heroine in distress always finds unexpected champions. That brings me to the sudden, glorious return of Martin Gray to Port Charles. What an absolute masterstroke of casting and timing. When I saw Martin sitting by the Metro Court pool with his sister Laura Collins, my veteran fan heart skipped a beat. This is exactly the kind of unexpected twist that keeps us tuning in decade after decade. Martin is not just any attorney. He is a shrewd, calculating, and deeply charismatic legal mind who knows exactly how to navigate the murky waters of Port Charles justice. I strongly suspect that Martin is about to become the exact lawyer that Britt Westbourne desperately needs in her darkest hour. Britt is sitting in a PCPD jail cell, throwing things and screaming in pure frustration, having just learned that her Huntington's disease diagnosis was a cruel lie and that her brother Cassius Faison is dead. She is broken, vulnerable, and facing the wrath of the WSB. Who better to step into that holding cell and offer a lifeline than Martin Gray? He has the pedigree, the sharp tongue, and the connections to take on an international intelligence agency. Let us delve deeply into the terrifying reality of Britt's current predicament. The evidence, on the surface, looks incredibly damning. The prosecutors are undoubtedly salivating at the prospect of convicting her. They're going to frame the narrative to suggest that Britt, acting out of desperation and perhaps madness from her fake medical diagnosis, abducted a minor. They will point to the fact that she and Rocco were on the run, hiding out in the British Virgin Islands, completely off the grid. The WSB, currently under the controversial leadership of Z, is desperate to find someone to take the fall for the catastrophic security breaches involving Ross Cullum and the Cold Fusion prototype. They do not care about the nuances of the situation. They only care about closing the file. For Britt, the upcoming hearing threatens to be an absolute nightmare. The prosecution will attempt to strip away her dignity, painting her as a reckless danger to society who dragged an innocent boy into a deadly international conspiracy. But we, the longtime viewers, know the absolute truth of her heart. If you look closely at Britt's character evolution, from her early days as the dreaded Britch to the fiercely protective, deeply loyal woman she is today, the kidnapping charges are nothing short of an insult to her character integrity. Britt did not kidnap Rocco Falconeri, she saved his life. When Rocco made that shocking discovery in their cabin, when they realized the sheer magnitude of the danger they were in, Britt went into pure survival mode. She knew exactly how lethal Ross Cullum was. She knew that Cullum had intercepted her medication, swapping it for poison. She knew that if she did not get Rocco out of Port Charles, the boy would have become collateral damage in Cullum's twisted, murderous game. Britt urged Rocco to take his passport and leave her behind when she thought she was dying. Is that the action of a malicious kidnapper? Absolutely not. That is the ultimate act of selfless love. She was willing to die alone in Tortola to ensure that Dante and Lulu's son made it back home safely. The tragedy is that the legal system only sees the flight, not the rescue. This is where the storyline has the potential to elevate into soap opera perfection, and it involves none other than Sonny Corinthos. Sonny may be a mob boss, but if there is one immutable law in his universe, it is that you protect family, and you fiercely reward those who protect your family. Sonny knows the truth about Spoon Island. He knows that Ross Cullum was a ruthless killer who murdered Marco Rios and attacked Carly. More importantly, Sonny knows that his grandson, Rocco, was in the direct line of fire. When Sonny looks at Britt's situation, he will not see a kidnapper. He will see a woman who put herself between a monster and his flesh and blood. I firmly believe that Sonny is not going to sit back and let the WSB destroy the woman who kept Rocco breathing. Sonny operates in the shadows, and I suspect he is about to orchestrate a massive behind-the-scenes legal intervention to ensure Britt walks out of that courthouse a free woman. And who does Sonny call when the legal stakes are a matter of life and death? He calls Diane Miller. Imagine the sheer brilliance of bringing Diane into this fray. I suspect Sonny will approach Diane and demand that she join Martin Gray as co-counsel for Britt's defense. Now, Diane is a pragmatic woman. Initially, she might hesitate. Taking on the WSB is no small feat, and defending a woman accused of kidnapping a minor is a public relations nightmare. But Sonny has a way of making people see the fundamental truth. He will look Diane in the eye and tell her that Britt saved Rocco from a WSB double agent who was willing to slaughter anyone in his path. Once Diane realizes that she is not defending a criminal, but rather a hero who is being railroaded by a corrupt government agency, her righteous indignation will ignite. Diane thrives on taking down arrogant prosecutors, and the opportunity to humiliate the WSB in open court might just be too delicious for her to pass up. Just think about the incredible dynamic of this potential legal dream team. You have Martin Gray, with his southern charm, his ability to negotiate in the back rooms, and his deep understanding of how to manipulate the press and public opinion. Then you have Diane Miller, the absolute shark of the courtroom, whose cross-examinations are legendary in the annals of General Hospital history. Together, they are an unstoppable force. Martin can handle the delicate negotiations with Z and the WSB, perhaps threatening to expose even more of their incompetence regarding Ross Cullum if they do not drop the federal charges. Meanwhile, Diane can dismantle the local PCPD charges, tearing into ADA Justine Turner's case piece by piece. The writers have a golden opportunity here to give us one of the most compelling legal showdowns we have seen in years, reminiscent of the grand courtroom dramas that defined the golden era of soap operas. Their defense strategy will be a masterclass in narrative flipping. Diane and Martin will not just defend Britt, they will put the WSB and Ross Cullum on trial. They will methodically lay out the timeline of terror that Cullum unleashed upon Port Charles. They will present the evidence of the poison medication, proving that Britt was a targeted victim, not a mastermind. But the true turning point of this hypothetical trial will be the testimony of Rocco Falconeri himself. Rocco is angry right now, lashing out at his parents, Dante and Lulu, over Britt's arrest. But when he is called to the stand, I have no doubt that he will look the judge in the eye and tell the absolute truth. He will testify that he went with Britt willingly, that she protected him, and that she offered to sacrifice herself so he could escape. Hearing a child passionately defend the woman accused of kidnapping him will shatter the prosecution's case into a million irreparable pieces. Furthermore, this trial will serve as the perfect vehicle to expose the sheer hypocrisy of the WSB. How can an agency that employed a murderous double agent like Ross Cullum dare to prosecute a civilian for trying to survive his rampage? Diane Miller will undoubtedly highlight the fact that the WSB lost control of the Cold Fusion project, lost control of their own agents, and ultimately relied on civilians like Britt, Carly, and even young Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassadine to clean up their catastrophic mess. The exposure of these facts in open court would be a public relations disaster for Z. The pressure will mount, and the WSB will realize that prosecuting Britt is a losing battle that will only drag their own dark secrets into the glaring light of day. It is the ultimate checkmate, orchestrated by Sonny Corinthos, executed by Martin and Diane, and fueled by Britt's undeniable innocence. When the gavel finally falls and the judge dismisses these baseless charges, it will be a moment of profound emotional triumph. We, as veteran fans, live for these moments of vindication. Britt Westbourne has been through hell and back. She has mourned the loss of her brother, she has faced the terrifying prospect of a terminal illness that turned out to be a cruel manipulation, and she has survived the lethal machinations of Ross Cullum. To see her standing in that courtroom, completely exonerated, with her head held high, will be a testament to the resilience of her character. She will no longer be the town pariah or the WSB's scapegoat. Instead, she will be recognized for what she truly is, a fiercely brave woman who risked everything to save a child. With the charges dropped, Britt will finally be free to breathe, to heal, and to begin a completely new chapter in her life, unburdened by the ghosts of her past. This is the essence of why we dedicate our time to long-term storytelling. We watch these characters stumble, fall, and face seemingly insurmountable odds, only to rise from the ashes stronger than before. The potential alliance between Britt, Martin Gray, Diane Miller, and Sonny Corinthos is a perfect example of how the intricate web of relationships in Port Charles can create magic on our screens. It honors the history of the characters while pushing the narrative forward in thrilling new directions. If you ask me, this upcoming legal battle is exactly what General Hospital needs right now. It is a story of justice, family loyalty, and the triumph of a legacy character over a corrupt system. I will be watching every single moment, coffee in hand, ready to cheer for Britt as she fights for her freedom, proving once again why the women of Port Charles are the true heart and soul of this enduring masterpiece.